One Piece chapter 1137 just came out. Let's get into it. So, the cover story, we got Yamato and Tama peeking in to Who's hideout, this mystery hidden base. It's titled Infiltrating the Mysterious Hidden Base. And so they're looking in, and we got two guys on the left that look like they're kind of, laughing at whatever they're looking at. And then the guy on the right looks like he's not impressed. So maybe they're kind of just making fun of Who's Who for losing the fight with Jinbei, maybe. That could be a possibility. So I'm not really too sure what they're looking at. It's something crazy though, because Yamato and Tama both have like a surprised look on their face. Maybe it's Kaido. Maybe they're laughing at Kaido for losing to Luffy. Who knows? But anyway, let's jump right into it. So pretty much the first page of the chapter, we're at the front of the castle. We're with Luffy, Nami, and Road. Right? They land their ship. They get out. They start running towards the door. And like I said, the last chapter, the door is broken. It's wide open. You could see it in the last chapter, a little dark hole on the door. So I assumed that it was broke. And so they run up to it, and Zoro points out that that the door was broken from the inside. Like, why would intruders do that? Because they don't know that they infiltrated from the inside. So anyway, they run in, and Luffy's like, damn, this place is gigantic. And it really is. Like, this place is like towering. It's huge. It's like a skyscraper. And like Luffy's like, dude, I could barely even see the ceiling. Like, you know how big it is to even, you couldn't even barely see the ceiling? That's that's literally, unironically gigantic. You know what I mean? So we got them walking in, and Nami's like, yo, this place is way too big. We can't even, there's no way we could walk around. So Luffy goes, hey, Road, you know where the key is? And Road's like, hell no, I've never even been in here. So anyway, Road picks up, it looks like Zoro and Nami. Yeah, he picks up Zoro and Nami, and she's like, well, I'm glad you're here now. And she's like, Road's like, wait, really, Nami? And she's like, yeah, now get moving. Let's go. Because, he's her, slave or whatnot. So they start running across the hall, and Luffy's like, damn, this place is super destroyed. Is this because of the intruders? And then Road starts, breaking down that actually all the rubble that you see is all from Loki fighting 100 of the guards. And like, he didn't just fight regular giants. These giants were literally ancient blood giants, like huge real warrior giants that grew up in like the war era of Elbaf, and he literally killed all of them. And so they run into this room, and there's literally hundreds of giant skeletons with swords in their heads, and they got horns literally coming out of their skulls. It's like the Onigashima giant. Now imagine how big the Onigashima giant was, because the whole entire fight was happening inside of that skull. You know what I mean? And then the fight on top of the head. Like, that giant probably could have like took over the entire world. How did anyone kill that giant? Like, it had to be devil fruits before devil fruits were even like a thing. So anyway, Loki's the one who killed all these giants, and the only survivor out of 100 of these giants was Lord Jarl, right? So now that pretty much ties together that Loki did stab Lord Jarl in the head. Like, he had to have, right? If it was Loki versus 100 giants, like, that's the story. Everybody knows it that way. Lord Jarl, he's the only survivor, which, pretty much just confirms that Loki is the one that stabbed him in the head. They never said who actually did. He just said he got stabbed in the head while trying to stop Loki, but he didn't say Loki stabbed him, which, Loki has a hammer, so I don't see why he would be using swords. That's why I don't think he killed his dad. But, you never know during war, right? And Road talks about how this place was forbidden. They're not allowed to go in that place, and how it's pretty much like haunted, like with spirits. And Luffy runs up to one of these skulls, and he's hugging the horns. He's like, oh my god, this one even has horns. I wonder if he knew who Oars was. So like, I just don't understand how nobody's bringing up the fact, like, every time the Straw Hats bring up Oars, nobody says anything. It's like, how do you know Oars? You know what I mean? Like, no, everyone like forgot about Oars or something. So that kind of makes me feel, I don't know, a little weird, I guess. And so they keep walking down this room, and there's a big portrait of King Harold, and we finally get to see what he looks like. And let me tell you what, this dude looked badass. Like, this dude looked like the triple OG. Like, he looks like a king of Elbaf, you know what I mean? And he's got scars. He's got a gnarly beard. He's almost got like a white beard, but like kind of mixed with the Mihawk, I guess. But he's got this badass armor on, and Road pretty much talks about how he's supposed to be like the strongest king, the strongest warrior of Elbaf, and he tried to make peace with the outside worlds, and he talks about the scars on his head were from having the ancient giant horn blood, right? So he ripped them out, he got rid of them, he no longer has them because he thought they were from a war-torn era, so he didn't want to have that kind of, look for Elbaf when he wants to make it peaceful. And then Roto breaks down to the crew that Hajrudin is actually Loki's brother, and they're surprised by that because he talks about how he has the biggest grudge, held against Loki because they share the same dad and he killed him, right? So they're like, damn, they're brothers. Road breaks down how they have different mothers and how Elbaf would have never recognized Hajrudin's mother as its queen, and then Nami asks why, and he goes, she was born in a different giant country. So apparently giants, they want to keep that Elbaf bloodline strong. Like, even if you're a giant from a different country, they are trying, well, the old ones at least, were trying to keep it in the bloodline. So she would have never been queen just from, I guess, prejudice reasons, So, and then Nami says that. She goes, wow, it seems giants can be just as bigoted as anyone else as they continue to, walk through the castle. And Road also brings up how they say having children with a giant from another land taints the blood of Elbaf, which, I can see that being, a country that is driven by war. They want to keep that war bloodline. And so Zoro asks, he goes, so then why do you follow Hajrudin if you think he has tainted blood? And pretty much, Road pretty much explains how when he was a kid, no one really talked to him, but Hajrudin was the one that talks to him, and he told him that he wants to unite all the giant tribes, and he says he wants to be the king of the giants, which is pretty parallel to like Luffy. That's awesome. Like, he wants to be the king of the giants, which is a really big goal. And then Road says, I want to make his dream come true, which is kind of funny because that's literally Zoro and Luffy, and Zoro says that's kind of boring. That kind of boring motivation is nothing new to me. So I don't really know what that is supposed to mean right there. I think he's just kind of being a smartass because he's like, yeah, that's pretty much like his way of saying like, yeah, you're telling me, I know exactly what you mean. And then like Nami's, because she's laughing, so he's obviously joking, right? So anyway, after that, Luffy's like, hey, this way I found some knocked out giants. And so those are the giants that Gunko probably, knocked out. Gunko and we get his name revealed soon, so I'm not going to say his name yet, but Stabs, they pretty much knocked them out. So they're going to probably go wake them up, see what was going on, and then we might run into these guys in the next couple of chapters with the actual crew. And so after that, it cuts over to the underworld. We're back with Loki, and he is pretty much bloody. He's got blood all over his face, and he says, this is only because I can't move from this spot. And then Shanks' brother, he still got his hood on. We still don't see his face. He goes, well, the result would be the same if you weren't tied up, so don't think that if this was any other way, you'd be beating us right now. And then Gunko pretty much is like, you're such a commoner, bro. Like, don't even get me started. We're offering you a chance that most people would literally die for. So don't even try to come at me right now. And she's got these arrows that started looping around her legs, and they made her boots that she was in bigger. So she's literally like, she could pretty much just do whatever with these arrows, I guess. I don't know, it doesn't really make too much sense to me, but I guess she could just control these arrows and they turn into physical matter, and she could just pretty much create anything that she imagines, and also use these arrows as like something to step on, because when she starts fighting Loki, now it seems that Loki, his observation hockey is off the charts, because I think this is a scene where Loki sees the punches coming before it happens, or she throws out her arrows and he can see where the arrows are going because she put them out there, and he kind of gets the gist of like, all right, well, you're gonna hit me this way and then hit me that way, and he says that, right? He's like, you're gonna hit me on the right side of my face and then uppercut me, and then she goes, yeah, these arrows, they're a sign of what my future holds, so I'm the only one who could stop it before it happens, but obviously it's unavoidable if I don't, so watch this. And she's standing like on the arrow that's like curving to punch him in the face, and she like glides on it, and it like propels her to Loki, and she kicks him in the face because the arrow's like going through him, and that's where her kick is gonna land. And then she throws an uppercut that follows the other arrow that she pretty much like drew up, and then she hits him with a crazy strong uppercut, knocks his chin up, knocks his head back down, probably knocking him out for like half a second. And he starts breathing. He's like, you know what? You're going to pay for this. And then all these arrows just come at him at once. And he's like, stop, enough already, which is insane. She's making Loki tap out because of how much she's hitting him and all the damage that he's doing. When you would think all this talk he was, all this talk he was making, he would probably sit there and get beat to death. But no, he's saying stop. He's tapping out. And then she goes, well, will you become a God Knight? Like, she's persistent. They're not trying to kill him. They're trying their best to make him a God Knight, to use his devil fruit against humanity. And probably against Luffy. They're probably really scared of Luffy. And then this is where he kind of like, he just says bleh, I guess. And then a big scream. And I'm pretty sure it's him, because it's like the panel here is Elbaf zoomed out with these, crazy lines, and it's inferring that Loki is yelling really loud, probably out of pain, right? So he probably got knocked out or something like that, because the next time you see him, his head is hanging low. And so Stabs, Shanks' brother, says, all right, it's fine, Gunko. Let's change our tactic. Contact Mary Joie. So now it's like, what? What are we doing? Like, are we getting all the other Gods Knights here? Are we getting the Gorosei here? Is Figureland going to show up? Like, what is going to happen? Because if they do, and no one else shows up to help out the Straw Hats, like, we're in a big predicament. Like, I know we got all the giants, but if we don't have, like, another pirate crew coming to help, like, maybe Shanks or something, we might be in a lot of trouble, right? And who knows if Shanks is coming back to Elbaf. I think he is. I don't think him and Luffy are going to meet just yet for particular reasons. I'll come out with a video about that later. But this specific point right here of Shanks' brother saying contact Mary Joie is a very big thing to try to think about. That how does Luffy and the gang stop these guys for a second time when there's nowhere else to go? So like Vegapunk's Island and Egghead, like, they were able to get away. They didn't have to beat these guys. They were able to leave the island and go to Elbaf. Now they're on Elbaf. There's nowhere to go. There's no retreating anymore. You gotta beat these guys. So we'll see how this goes, you know what I mean? And so he says, let's contact Mary Joie, and talks about how not every piece of the puzzle is a good piece, meaning Loki, right? Like, he was a piece that we could have used, didn't end up working. That's all right. That's fine. And then we get a full body shot of this guy, hood off. We finally see the left side of his face. There's no scar, right? He has long, beautiful hair with a ponytail. This dude is beautiful, right? And so you would get the narrator box, official title, Captain of God's Knights, Figureland Shamrock, son of Elder Figureland Garling. So he is Shanks' brother. This man is finally in the story, Mr. Shamrock. Nice to meet you. It is an honor, right? So Gunko says, well, if not yielding, even in death, do we, like, chalk this up to fate? Meaning, like, are we just going to kill him and, like, leave this be? And then she says, long ago, the savage warriors of Elbaf dominated the New World. Oh, no, sorry, this is Shamrock saying this. Long ago, the savage warriors of Elbaf, they used to dominate the world, so the world government will bring them to heel no matter what. So, at the end of the day, they want the giants to bow down. So, I don't know if Shamrock really wants to kill this guy, Loki, or if he wants them, like, to throw the whole kitchen sink at him to get him to join them. But at the end of the day, he did say not every piece ends up being useful, so I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind getting rid of the piece. You know what I mean? Because that just means one less crazy motherfucker to deal with, right? So he might actually end up just killing Loki. Like, what if we never see Loki unchained? You know what I mean? Like, what if they actually just kill him while he's chained up? I don't think that's going to happen. But you know how shitty that would be. But anyway, that's the end of the chapter. We don't have any break next week, I don't think. So we're going to get, right back into it next week. We might run into these guys with the Straw Hats. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know what Shamrock is going to be planning. I don't know who he's going to talk to at Mary Joie and what kind of tactic is going to be changing. The Admirals could be coming. Like, anybody, the Gods Knights could be coming, the Gorosei could be coming, the Admirals could be coming. Like, maybe Sakazuki finally does something. Maybe Akainu finally leaves the office. I don't know. We'll see. But that would be insane if Akainu comes. That would be so awesome. I think it's the perfect time to get him to come in and start whooping ass. That means it would be the perfect time to have somebody strong come back and help these guys out. Like, the guy that's walking around in the underworld, the silhouette guy, if he is strong and, he's revered amongst the giants, he has to be strong. He might be old, though, so it's like he won't be the greatest help, but at least he's some kind of help, right? So, I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. That'll be, a video worth exploring in the future. But yeah, new chapter, 1137. It was amazing. It was a banger. Go read it if you haven't. If you have, like, comment, and subscribe if you made it this far. Peace out, everybody.